Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Handford, and my wife, Dennae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. On the podcast with us today is Chad Carrodus. He is a 20-year-old co-founder and chief operating officer with a company called GoWithMe. Chad, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Dan. I'm excited to be here.
Hi, Chad, and we're looking forward to talking with you. We would love for you to start us off by just sort of giving us a little bit about your journey to where you are as an entrepreneur, and also explain a little bit more where your focus is right now as an entrepreneur.
Sure. So, as cliche as it might sound, I definitely am one of those lifelong entrepreneur type people. It just started from the little things when, I was 12, 13, 14 years old, all the way going up and just constantly doing different things, whether that be, I would buy and sell cars and sell them on Craigslist and sell them, for families and neighbors and stuff like that. And I would do it for boats. And then eventually I got into private aviation, which is a totally different, crazy story that basically just came down to the premise of being persistent and following up. And, I went down that route, and then I got into software and technology, e-commerce, and now I got invited to work on this app, which is GoWithMe, which is an event-based social platform that helps you do the things you love with people you like safely. So it's definitely been a journey.
Well, I'm sure even though you're only 20 years old, with all the stuff that you've done up to this point, there has been tough decisions you've had to make, because as entrepreneurs, we make tough decisions all the time. But I'm sure that even up to this point, you've had one that I like to call the sore thumb tough decision. One that when you think of tough decisions, or maybe some difficult decisions you've had to make that didn't have that good of an outcome, you can probably pick those out in your mind. I know every entrepreneur I've talked to can think of something about that's along those lines. So can you share with our listeners one tough decision that you've had to make that did not have that good of an outcome, and some of the lessons that you learned through that tough decision?
Sure. I think in the entrepreneurial community, it always seems like people are looking for co-founders and people want to bounce around ideas and all that stuff, which is incredible. And I think the energy surrounding that is really terrific. However, sometimes, it'll come down to the point where everyone just wants to give you their latest and greatest idea and how you can work on it and all that stuff. And I kind of have this complex of, I have a tendency to take on sometimes a little more, biting off more than I can chew. And there's been not really countless times, but definitely a handful of times where I, get all excited about an idea that someone's pitching me and decide to, work on it and put all my eggs into that basket. And then the next latest and greatest comes up. So definitely there's been a lot of different times where I've had to realize, okay, just stay focused, keep your head down. And while, it might sound exciting and enticing on, the outside, it's not always best just to, drop everything and go to the next best idea.
Is there a certain process in your mind that you go through to make a decision as to whether or not you want to do something? Because I can see that, being young, you have a lot of things, on your horizon that you could do, but determining which ones to say no to and which ones to say yes to.
Right. It really comes down to, I think, is the primary element is the person that is proposing it, because often, if the person's proposing it, it would be a co-founder, partner type situation. So I think that really is the fundamental element, and that's something that I have had to learn. And, really a lot of people, it's like going into a relationship, marrying someone basically for the next couple of years working on this project. So you really have to make sure that that's someone that you really want to work with and continue to work with. So I think the first process would really just be vetting the person and really working with it. And then also, you don't have to make a decision right then and there. You can definitely, and that's something that I've definitely had to learn, is instead of being impulsive and just jumping on a decision, it's okay to think and walk through it, and mentally, and really just kind of take your time on that whole process.
And what was it about GoWithMe and the co-founder there that you guys really hit it off really well, that you decided to just go for it?
So Amanda, my co-founder, she is absolutely incredible. So she's 36, has 2 kids, 2 stepkids, and basically came up with this, and realized this gap in this market that was really incredible in basically, the online dating sector, and then expanded that into more, it could be for friendships and romance and et cetera. So really just kind of the energy sitting down and meeting with her for the first time, because, we didn't sit down with the intention of really working together. It was just kind of one of those, what felt like this pure collaboration type things. And honestly, it was at a point, that week I was so busy, I really didn't have the time. But something, I just kind of got this gut feeling that I needed to go and sit the lunch and listen to her. And it really didn't, the offer really didn't even come onto the table, at that first lunch. We would just kind of keep up and talk back and forth, and she'd kind of tell me the progress with everything. And it just got to the point where we were on the phone every day talking about it, meeting up, and where it just made the most sense. But it really was something that was formed organically and naturally. And I think that is kind of a problem too now, that people will try to, they almost try to, it's almost like arranged marriages, they'll try to force something, whereas it should be more of a natural process.
And so I want to shift here a little bit and talk about a tough decision that you've had to make that had a really good and positive outcome, and some of the lessons you learned through that one.
Right. Yes. And that, I think, is, so I went to school at Baylor out in Texas. I was really excited. It was great. I went there for my freshman year, and then I had ended up selling some of my e-commerce stores and then moving back to Atlanta, where I got, a consulting position with a different startup. But I guess just kind of the lesson from that is the whole balance of college, really. And I'm the biggest advocate of higher education, because I think that it is so important in terms of the lessons that you learn, the personal skill sets that you can develop, and the networks that you can really build there. And I mean, I loved Baylor and I loved everything about it, but it kind of came to that point where, I had realized, am I missing an opportunity cost here? And is it better for me to be back in Atlanta, or is it better for me to be, spending $50,000, $60,000 a year on school? So that kind of was definitely a tough decision. I mean, it was very, very, very tough decision, but ultimately I think it kind of worked out for the better.
Chad, talk a little bit about the strategies that you use when you are facing a difficult decision.
A big thing that took me the longest time to come around to was exercise, because, I knew it was one of those things, everyone says it, preaches it and all that stuff. But I had realized, okay, maybe I should just do it. So honestly, going on a run, clearing my head. And another big thing that I do every single morning is my girlfriend and I will wake up and we go on a 5-mile walk just around this trail. And I think doing that every day too just adds a level of clarity and really just awareness, I think, in my life and our lives. So really, I think exercise is incredibly, incredibly valuable thing. And it's for a very good reason that people speak so highly of it. It took me long enough to figure out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and hear from one of our show sponsors. When we come back, we'll talk to Chad about some of his favorites as it relates to his life as an entrepreneur.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com. All right, we are back with Chad Carrodus, and we are talking right now about the Trifecta, a series of quick questions and answers. I want you to start us off, Chad, by talking about your most favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier as an entrepreneur.
The best thing is Product Hunt. So I guess that's not a specific technology because it's really just a directory of ways to find specific technologies. But every single morning I'm on Product Hunt, finding new ways and new technologies and softwares to streamline the processes, things that I already do. So that is an incredible, incredible resource.
And what's a quote that you have read or heard that's helped you as an entrepreneur?
I think it would be from Think and Grow Rich. So happiness is found in doing, not merely possessing.
And what is a book then that you have read that you would also recommend to our audience?
So I think Grow Rich is a really good one. And I also just read one that was 3 Simple Steps, which I think was a really terrific, full of great lessons in that as well.
And what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or dream board?
So right now, we just launched our beta of GoWithMe into the App Store. So we're very excited it's there. And next, what we're doing with that is we're going to be going to different campuses and universities across the country and doing campus launches with the app. And that's next. And we're just excited to grow the brand.
How can the listeners reach out to you if they want to find out more information about you or maybe even this GoWithMe app as well?
Sure. So if you go on my website, just chadcarrodus.com, so ChadCarrodus.com, or if you want to download GoWithMe in the App Store, and it's coming in Android within the next couple weeks, I believe, or go on the website, GoWithMeApp.com. We look forward to connecting with you guys.
And is GoWithMe app, is that also, even though it's coming out on Android, is it also, I'm assuming it is on the Apple Store?
Yes, it is in the Apple Store right now as a beta.
Okay, great. Well, I'll make sure we put some links in the show notes as well so that the listeners can download that and also to be able to follow you a little bit more as well. So thank you so much, Chad, for being with us today on the podcast. I look forward to having you on a future episode as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.